Wow. So I think, we've been talking a lot about, money, security, motivation, self-motivation, but we've come to a situation where we're thinking, how do people get themselves into difficulties? It could be a difficult relationship. I know people have talked about narcissistic abuse, they call it, technical term. You're kind of stuck with somebody who has a kind of an inflated sense of themselves. They're not somebody who care, is one. But then you also equally have people who are wanting that extra bit of attention because they're not too sure about themselves. Yeah. And both can be problematic. And when you have a couple, which the couple in a relationship which has these two type of people, then you're heading towards a disaster. So that's one. And then two, when you look at how people kind of dig themselves into a hole, again, lots of things are happening there. People are not reflecting enough, is what I'd say. When at the first sign of you feeling something not quite right, seek advice, seek a friend, reflect. You can do it on your own, but if you don't do that, it piles up. So for instance, when you have things in your room, the first thing you bring in, which is a clutter of rubbish, if you leave it, the next thing you will bring in adds on to that. It piles up. 20 years later, you can't even enter your room.
Yeah.
And then even if you want to come out of it, you may not be able to do it unless you get some professional help to dig it out. I think that cleaning is not happening with people, and that's what maybe our conversation kind of is about. When you do a two-in conversation series, you're actually unpicking some of these things that come to attention. We experience that ourselves. We may have other people experiencing that and telling us that. And I see many people who sort of dig themselves deeper into a hole. I would say, in my experience, the number one reason is the fear. The fear, they say it's the fear of the unknown, but I say it's the fear of the inevitable. So cut the fear. So how do you overcome that? So you need to, for them, I need to know. Then I say, look, if I'm going to tell you something that you need to know, then you might as well tell me the lottery numbers, because we can exchange that. Because you think I know that? No. Yeah. But winning a lottery is not inevitable, but you're getting old, or whatever. Your bills coming, or the taxman knocking every year. Yeah. Well, you can't avoid those things, no matter how hard you try. So might as well not worry about it. Can you do something about it? And if you're going to die, well, we're not going to die, that's guaranteed. But can you make the life worth living? Can you make the journey more pleasant? But that is in your hands. Stopping death, well, it's not in your hands. You can keep on postponing. Well, we try and postpone it, but if you have a miserable life, you might as well not postpone it. So what's the point? You want to just postpone misery, or postpone death so that you can be miserable for a long time? It doesn't make sense. But people somehow have got into this fear. I need to do this because this might happen, that might happen. And we were talking about making offerings or donating to things. Again, people do it out of sometimes fear. You have to give. If something bad will happen.
Like the biggest insurance policy of heaven and hell.
Yeah.
That if I do this, I have an insurance policy that after my death, I will go to heaven. That's why I wanted to create a company called Everybody Goes to Heaven.com.
I know.
Remember?
And I think you did talk about it in the video.
Yeah. So everybody pays 1 penny a day.
But then I'm thinking about it in this context now. And sometimes I'm thinking, rather than creating Everybody Goes to Heaven.com, which could be good, but we could start something like, guarantee that you cannot go to hell and pay us. Because I'm afraid that I go to hell.
Listen, this guy guaranteeing you, please buy the policy.
Exactly.
It's a good business. business model.
Yeah, because heaven will, whatever.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that you will not go to hell.
And just give us two proofs that you're not in, you're in hell. We will return your money.
We'll pay out.
Very good business model. I like that. That's the business model.
Because people want security. In the first model, you're looking for inspiration, value, right? Okay, I will take you to heaven, but I can guarantee. Most people think, oh, forget heaven. But please, I don't want the pain of hell. Can you please make sure that I can stay on earth?
Yeah, I mean the business model that I was.
We have two companies and cover the whole population.
That's what I'm saying. Do whatever you do, you will end up in heaven.
Yeah.
As long as you pay us 1 penny a day for the rest of your life, it's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
1 penny a day. That's the business model of motivational gurus, right?
Yeah.
I mean the religion. At the end of the day, what is religion selling you? What is a motivational guru selling you? Again, perception of value. The way I see it is, you have to be gentle to yourself. You have to have a nice relationship with yourself. You have to be forgiving to yourself. And you need to know that, look, life is about trial and error. You will get a lot of things wrong. But you should also know where we are in our journey, where we are in our life, is a direct and indirect outcome of the choices and the decisions we have taken. And even the decision that we have not taken and the choices we have not made decides where we are. And it goes exactly to what you were saying. When you see people and you could probably kind of analyze and give them that, okay, you know what, this is the time you should have removed yourself from that toxic relationship. And you made a very nice, you gave a very nice example. People are piling up. You could have cleaned that room in 5 minutes, but you allowed things to pile up. Now it's going to take you 10 months to clean it up.
Exactly.
And you won't be able to clean it up, so you will need a professional help.
Exactly.
And that's where you come to a therapist, that's where you go and seek help.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you need to know, and you know what? People know also.
Yeah. Absolutely.
People know that, this is not the right thing, but then they justify, okay, let's give it more time, let's do this, let's do that. And again, because I think we bought into that narrative, a relationship is this, or a marriage is this, or a career is like this. And I think, we make those type of choices.
Yeah. And also what is important to realize is, sometimes people, again, choose to outsource some of these things. So, if you look at ironing clothes, for instance, you can do it yourself. It might give some people a lot of joy. Others might say, look, I'll get somebody to do it or send it away. So maybe religion or motivational speakers maybe have that kind of a role.
Yeah, they
outsource, because I'm not going to think about this. I'll let God worry about it. I will just go about my business. Okay, outsource to God. That's it, taken care of. I'm not going to do anything about it.
And do a bit of good things as prescribed in the religion.
Yeah, it's take
or
care
my
of.
spiritual guru saying, do this, you will be fine.
Yeah, so outsource. Yeah, so outsource. So some people want the convenience of the option of outsourcing, but then sometimes the outsourcing doesn't happen according to your needs, or the task is so important or it's so complex that it can't be outsourced. So we do have many of our listeners in that category. It may not be as simple as, say, ironing a piece of cloth. It could be constructing something very unique, which you're only capable of. So how do you do that? You can't just call a guy and say, hey, and he say, look, what are you talking about? I don't understand. And that's where people get stuck as well. So super intelligent people, super capable, and they feel lonely. And you always say, it's lonely at the top when you become the CEO, when you're a chief scientist, or people in that high positions. They feel very lonely because they can't reflect with anybody.
Well, look, I have an example for myself. I said, look, the earth is lonely, the sun is lonely, the moon is lonely, but they're all under each other's influence. Imagine if this earth and the sun decided to come closer and say, Earth, I'm missing you, let me come closer. We all died, the earth died. The same thing with the moon and the earth. So, you can never be lonely because you're part of the society. The society will always influence you, and you will always, even though you feel you are nobody, you eventually, indirectly, directly do influence the society. and it goes to for everybody.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you cannot outsource your own living. You know, you can outsource. You know what? I bought the insurance policy because I belong to this religious franchise, and my religious franchise say do this, guaranteed heaven. This guy's religious franchise said no, you need to do this, and so it's like all of these motivational gurus 500 years from today in the past will probably be religious franchises.
Yeah.
Right? Anyways, so I think
they have their own role. It's for understanding the value of all of this, isn't it? Yeah. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. And I think we can go on and on about this. I'm sure many of the people that they're watching this will want to join us in conversations.
And I'll appreciate if people really started getting engaged in it and started to discuss this.
Yeah.
Because we don't have time to keep making videos and content, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's for fun, we are doing it, and if somebody somebody doesn't have time, feeling lonely, watch it.
And then engage.
Get some, engage it, and then say, you guys are completely rubbish, I don't like your clothes, what's wrong with you? That's fantastic engagement, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
All right then.
Okay then, yeah, cool. Take care.
Take care.